Hi, it's Steve from Ausinspect. Today the subject is going to be with regard to a unit, whether one should get a building inspection carried out to a unit if they're already purchasing a Strata report. So, I'm bringing an example in this instance of a unit in the inner west of Sydney where there was some major structural issues observed during the building inspection. Now, a Strata report is very important because the Strata report gives the history of the building, but the building inspection gives you what is there today, and quite often can identify issues that aren't necessarily already identified and included in a Strata report. And when purchasing a unit, at the end of the day, it is a large sum of money, and it is in a complex with additional units, and any exposure to costs can be sort of divided by all unit owners, and one needs to be aware of the various issues that may exist in a complex. So just running through a couple of the issues. First of all, we get to the unit itself. We've got a door frame here that is lacking the fire certificate rating to the door frame, and in a unit in particular, that's not ideal. Into the interior of the unit, inspection, moisture meters used on all internal walls, trying to determine if we've got any issues with penetrating damp or falling damp from units above and the like, and thermal imaging is also utilised at this time. Now, with this particular unit, there was a particular problem that has occurred, and in this instance we've got some significant cracks that occur behind wallpaper. Those cracks sort of hard to see, but really indicative of the structural movement. The adjoining door also is binding to the frame quite significantly, as there's been quite a drop. Moving on from that into the master bedroom, and there's a crack to the ceiling. Very hard to see here, but quite a substantial crack to the ceiling occurred in this instance. Now, what has happened is that the foundations to the centre of the complex have dropped, and that has caused this concrete slab to crack and actually break, and there's been a deflection of about over a couple of centimetres in this instance, and more than likely underpinning will prove necessary to this particular building. A structural engineer, a practicing structural engineer, still has to assess the structure and make a determination and a design of foundation repairs, but that sort of structural crack is quite significant, and is a real concern with that sort of structural movement. Now, that sort of crack to the interior of the unit would not necessarily be known to the body corporate, would not necessarily have been identified previously, and therefore would not be included in a Strata report, and hence such an importance of having a building inspection in addition to that particular Strata report. Now, that deflection that occurred is really because of moisture issues that exist to the common garage area under the complex. And under the complex, we see that there's certainly been a lot of excavation and repairs to the drainage. There are ongoing moisture issues still existing to that garage area, and it's these moisture issues and that sort of excavation that has undermined the foundations to a degree, and contributed to those deflections that were observed to the structure in this particular instance. Now, the underpinning, that can cost tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even hundreds of thousands. So there's certainly, quite a financial exposure in this particular instance. In addition to those problems that were observed, there's areas in the yard of the complex where the likes of termites were observed, tree issues were observed where within the trees' canopies there's a lot of deadwood, areas where trees have not been maintained and deadwood has not been removed from those trees. Having the yard area where children play, there's certainly a target there for for limbs to fall on unwary persons, and those sorts of things are really things that you want to be aware of, and eventually get the body corporate to maintain those issues. Now there's an outbuilding to this particular complex. To this outbuilding there's termite damage and termite activity observed, and once again those are issues that quite possibly have not been identified previously in the Strata report or by anybody previously, and hence that wouldn't be included necessarily in that particular Strata report of this complex. Also issues with drains where there's been blockages. Those blockages have contributed to the gutters blocking and overflowing of gutters into eave soffit linings. All those sorts of details are things that normally a person purchasing a unit would not necessarily be aware of. In this case, this particular unit complex was a little bit more run down than what's commonly observed, and some of the issues observed in this instance more readily identifiable, and really emphasises the issue of the importance of having a proper building inspection carried out when considering purchasing or owning a unit. So it's the idea of the exercise is really just to get the penny to drop for people to understand the importance of this sort of plant overgrowth against the exterior of the building, really susceptible to the likes of concealed termite egress. One needs to be aware of that. If that plant overgrowth is removed, you're really removing a risk factor of concealed termite egress and moisture issues from occurring. So I do go into a lot of that sort of information when carrying out an inspection, so people have a good rounded understanding. Any spoiling of concrete cancer, go through those issues, areas where the brickwork has been fretting and there's a deterioration of the mortar joints. All those details are well identified, and I discuss those things within the video. So I certainly hope that this video has been somewhat informative and will help people sort of understand the reasoning that a building inspection, in addition to that Strata report, is quite important and can really provide a lot of good information to people considering purchasing a unit, or possibly renting a unit, or for the unit owner themselves. So I'll try and continue these types of informative videos in the future, and hopefully you've found this video to be informative and providing a reasonable amount of information.